Hi, this is Dolores, and I'd love to show you my roses journal. I still don't have a camera angle that I like, so I'm trying a new one, and I hope it works. So this is a journal. It's about 7 by 5, maybe a little less, and it's covered with this fabric that I bought. I saw it. It was very inexpensive. I saw it online, and it's made out of polyester, I guess, but in little pieces. It's very pretty. So I painted the cover. It's a book cover with a new spine, because the spine was kind of falling apart. So I took it out completely, and then I reinforced it with Tyvek and so on. And it's painted gold on the paper that's covering it, and then this fabric is over that. This button is a vintage button, and I had a wonderful surprise recently. I found a whole cookie tin full of my grandmother's buttons that I didn't even know I had, and as soon as I saw this one, some hatred welled up in me, and it must have been some horrible button on some horrible coat that I had. So here it is. Looks pretty on here. Here's the back, and it's with that fabric also. And the way it's bound is that the 3 signatures are sewn together, individually, and then they're bound into the journal with the so-called easy twine binding, and I used seam binding. So here's a little key that I decorated the front with, and I was very inspired. It says grow here. I figured that was a nice thing to say about roses. And I was inspired by Debbie Ann at Ephemera's Vintage Garden, her new website, Vintage Junkies, I think it is. And she has a beautiful little, I'm forgetting the word, but a beautiful little scene with the little key there. So here it is. It just opens this way, twisted around the button. And inside there's another little button that that I found in that same group. Now I'm having trouble with the camera. Okay, so if I put it down like this, that will be good, right? Right. Okay. This is a little, a few rose petals. As you can see, I have my dried roses here for my Valentine's flowers, and my husband got me real flowers, not the kind from the drugstore, but they actually smelled like roses. It was great. A little lace on this page. This is craft paper, and I use that along with coffee dyed paper throughout. And these are just images that I found. All the images I used, I either bought in downloads on the Etsy or some other places, or I got them on Pinterest, and these are probably Pinterest. I used gold around the pages. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, a little bit. And I used a little bit of stickles on the roses, and I hope that Nikki Storer will like it. I hope she likes a little glitter. Another page, journaling cards. All the journaling cards are either on cardstock, or they're backed with cardstock if they're printed out on plain paper. Here's some graph paper for journaling, and I marked all the spots for journaling with tabs. And this tab is not the tab, but it's the EK real estate sign tag, and it works pretty well. You can always cut it here, and it's a little less, it's a little plainer. Here's little fibers, and this page, I have all these single sheets of paper that I have no idea what they are or where they're from, but I'm trying to use them, and this is one of them. It's a very pretty paper, very heavy paper. This is something I got from Pinterest, and I blew it up, and I cut the elements out. It's supposed to be a perfume bottle, a rose, says Paris, and eau de parfum. What happened was, when I glued it down, I saw that it was camellia. Now, when you're a kid who grows up in the city, you don't really know your flowers that well because they come in cellophane and soggy tissue paper. So I would know a camellia from a rose, so I took it for a rose. Here is a tag, a journaling tag, and it's attached to this, or on it I attached a piece of this banana paper that I have further on in the journal as a page. Here's a little pocket that I made out of coffee dyed paper. I sprayed it. I put some little rose-like objects on it, and then I got made some stamps. Now, I tried to use Donna Turner's method of making the shadow stamp on the side. I don't know if you can see this. And I failed miserably. So what I did was, see the little heads there that I didn't do that well, and the one I did is attached to her hand, and it's like she's holding up a severed head or something. But what I did was I stamped off, and I made 2 images, and I kind of like that. So for the next one, that's what I did. I just left it at that. I made the image, and then I did stamped off, and I think that one turned out a little better, but I have to work on Donna's technique. And then here's an envelope that I painted, and I attached a piece of a printout to it, and there it is. Now, this paper is parchment paper that is supposed to look like there are roses embedded in it, but I'm sure these are just sprayed on or something. Roses, mostly roses. Here's some little tags in here, in this cellophane, you know, the packing cellophane. Another image, and little roses, a doily that I sprayed here. Another roses image. Sprayed paper. This is Cocklebell Coral from Lindy Stamp Gang. Here's a little envelope. This is from Ephemera's Vintage Garden, and I put some of the extra roses from the cover. I glued them down here. Some more roses. Here's a bustier with a rose in a little envelope. And some more roses. Here's a vintage lady with a little, I think they're roses. Love that image. She's so sweet looking, just like me. Here's a pocket with some little tiny tags that have roses on them, and a few other things. This is an offcut of something. And up here, the same. I made these tags. I wrote vintage on here. I stamped it twice, once with gold, once brown, once with gold. And this pocket is made from coffee dyed paper and washi tape. Here's another rose. This is parchment paper. This is the deli parchment paper that I baked. Roses. A lady with roses on her hat. And this paper is sprayed, and here's the back of that, or this is the front. Actually, I painted that. And an envelope with a little tag here. This is from Karen Higgins' Feathers and Friends collection. I used a few of these. They're quite beautiful. And there's some wink of Stella on there. Now this tag, I've been trying to do embossing for a very long time, and I've watched videos very carefully. I watched Cheryl Brown's video a few times, and it's not easy. But so what I did was I lowered my horizons, and I just did a little stamp, and it's my roses stamp, and I think it turned out pretty well. I painted this with Lumiere paint, and these roses that I've been using on the tops of the tags, actually they come from China, and they used to sell them $144. That's a gross for $1, no tax, no shipping. Their price is up to about $6 or $7 now, but I think they're still worth it because they're malleable. You can do what you want with them, and after you spray them, they become very hard, and I'm not worried that they're going to fall apart or anything. So they're sprayed, and they've got glitter on them, and I like it. I'm very proud of myself. Here's a bag with the other side of the doily, and inside I had this little piece. Actually, this was my test piece that I did for the rose embossing, and I thought that turned out pretty well. I put the gold around it, and I'm very happy with that. And a little offcut, and some more, one of Karen's emblems, and a cute little card from the internet. There's some lace that I dyed, and again some rose paper, parchment, roses and grapes. Here's the other side of that pattern paper that's so pretty, and it does have roses on it. Here's the other side of the graph paper, sprayed. Some images with roses. I love this one. Lace that I dyed, and I sprayed this and painted it a little, and roses. And in this envelope, this is a vellum envelope, and I have this little book of old-time roses stickers, and they're so cute. They're all these little stickers. So that's for Nikki to play with. Okay, that's the first signature. Now, after I put the book together, I had overestimated the spine because, as you may know if you've seen my other books, I tend to have a lot of, things in there. So I made this one too big. So what I did was I added a signature in the middle. It's plain coffee dyed paper. There's a little stamping on it. I used my rose stamp and a flourish throughout, and a couple of little pictures, little images that I didn't use in the other part, and a tag. And then in the middle is an envelope that I painted with, it's actually house paint, and it's pearl. You put it over regular, you paint your wall and then you put pearl on it. And I put 3 of those little roses on it and stamped it with vintage. And I made this little paper clip with roses on each side to hold it in. And the rest of it is, the same, just a couple of little things here and there, and a little stamping. So this is actually a real journal right there. And here's the last signature, the third signature, and This is some, these are rose petals as well. And this is some ribbon that I bought with little flowers on it. They're not roses, sorry, but I don't know what, they look like dogwood or something. Roses. Vellum. Here's an envelope, the toile pattern, and it's a blank. And this is the Pied Piper. I just noticed that. I don't like the Pied Piper, but he was already there, so I left him. Here's some paper that I had also, one of my single sheets of paper, and actually you're supposed to paint on it, and then there are these, I don't know, pattern over it that doesn't get painted, but it seemed a little complicated, and I liked it the way it was. I tried again, this is one of my Donna attempts, and I cut the other one off, and I kind of painted her face, and I couldn't throw her away because she was, she was looking at me, so Nikki can throw her away if she wants. Here's a page that I have this huge die cut, and it's supposed to be, it's 12 by 12, and you're supposed to, I guess, put it in a scrapbook. But when you cut it, if you cut it, it falls apart. So I used it as a stencil with some Martha Stewart metallic paint, and I think it turned out pretty well. Here's another image, not necessarily roses, but I liked it, went with this. Here's a vintage lady on a little card with an image inside. And here's another little image. And inside this card, inside this envelope, it's folded over here, are some journaling cards as well. Here are my rose tags. Here's one here. That's done in copper with copper paint on the side. And these are done in gold. They're both the same. And I'm so happy I embossed. Can't believe it. Another image. Here's a vintage lady. Now this is an envelope, as you can see, and I sprayed it, and then I was going to cut it here to put stuff in it, or I think I did put something in it. I don't know what the whole story is, but I glued this image on top, so now that's all it is a page. And on the other side there's a rose image. Roses. And more roses. I love these two colors together on these two pages. This I don't know what you call that, teal or turquoise, I'm not sure. And then you repeat it here with a coral color. It's so beautiful. I love that. And the lace is dyed. Here's some journaling cards. And another image with roses. Roses. Oh, this is gorgeous. This is from, I did a wedding album, and I bought two, is that coming in the camera? Yes. I bought two sets of Ephemera's Vintage Garden digital papers, and one of them was Love is Chic, and the other one was this one. Whatever it is, I can't remember, but it came from there. I blew it up, see the little rose there, cut it out, and it just turned out beautifully. And here are some journaling cards in there. I love the way that looks. And another rose image, cream of roses, seemed appropriate. This is a tuck spot, a little bird cage, and here's some rose images. Again, another little envelope with a medallion from Karen's collection. This is again from that Ephemera's Vintage Garden collection that